So check this shit out. This is the new poster for the coming Supergirl movie. There was a countdown in Times Square that was shown literally this morning, and a lot of people were wondering what it meant. Maybe it was going to be the trailer, but there was word that the trailer was going to drop on Thursday. Okay, so yeah, this seems to be just another little tease for the trailer. It's a poster. Technically, it's a motion poster, and I will play what is there underneath it, because this is probably like an accurate piece of music maybe for the trailer, or a theme, maybe Kara's theme or the movie's theme for the movie. So here it is. Okay, we'll listen to it again. Okay, so that is a little piece of music here, and then we got this trailer here. We'll kind of break it down a little bit. So, yeah, so obviously it's Supergirl. She's in the trench coat kind of a thing. The official costume is on. She's got Peter Quill's headset, and she's got some sunglasses on. The hair's styled, a little bit of gel. And I think she's evoking a very like 80s kind of a look here. Sort of a badass, rompy Supergirl, roguish, I would say. And I think that's good. You know, this is actually not a bad poster, and I think it's sort of evoking a certain style or a theme, which is badass. And look, the real trick with Supergirl, because this movie, I know some of you guys don't want to hear this, but this movie is fighting an uphill battle, and it's really just a timing thing. I really think a lot of people are over girl boss characters, derivative characters in general. I personally think that this story runs the risk of being way too James Gunn at a time when, frankly, there are a lot of people kind of over the James Gunn of it all. There's a lot of people I talk to, there's just, we don't have to get all up in it. I know a lot of Gunn fans don't want to believe it, but it is true. This thing did not go off the way it should have with Superman, and there's still a lot of trepidation and question. This poster, to me, is a little bit better than I was expecting. This is a little bit more akin to what I think they should do, and that's get away from girl boss power as much as possible. Like, legitimately, this thing should just feel badass and fun. Kara should just be this sort of damaged, you know, character that's having way too much fun and is way more irreverent than Clark is. And if they can really nail that, if the tone is right, and if they stay away from the girl bossy stuff and have it just be fun, that is the correct route. Now, to be fair, that might be the correct route, and it still might not matter because of a lot of the other stuff that I've mentioned. But yeah, I think this is an appropriate first look, and we will get the first trailer tomorrow, which I kind of plan on doing like a first reaction to the trailer. I'll throw it up on the main Den of Nerds channel, and then we'll do a live reaction just like I did with Superman. And so we'll do like a reaction video, and then we will get in and react to it live on stream. But that's sort of my first thoughts on this little poster here, and I wonder what you guys think of it. What do you think of the music? What do you think of her look here? Like, what's the vibe, chat? How you feeling about this? Let's get into it. Let's have a little bit of discussion about this. What's the vibes here? Let's see here. Why would she need sunglasses? Just to look more badass, you know, probably just to look more badass. But there's a rumor that she spends a lot of time around red sun. Well, actually, no, that's in the fucking movie, isn't it? That's in the Superman movie. Clark says she spends a lot of time around red suns in order to be able to get drunk, right? Unless I'm misremembering that. So maybe that's where the sunglasses come in. Maybe that's where the sunglasses come in. How will the sunglasses stay on her when she flies? She probably hold them on there, I guess. Superman Brand New Day is going to shot all over. Oh, Spider-Man? Yeah, probably. The dog pissing on the newspaper is exactly something Goofball Gunn would do. Yeah, you're not wrong. And look, this is how they're, apparently, we don't know for sure, but that's what Shine said. The dog piss thing is real, and I think that's silly as fuck, you know? And hey, maybe not. Maybe I'm just like this grumpy dude on the internet. A lot of people think it's really funny and cute and get down with it. Hard to know, hard to know, hard to see. I think the proof will be in the pudding, so to speak. So we'll see. We'll see how people react to it. Yeah. Lobo is the reason why I would even bother seeing it. I mean, for me, that's a big part of it as well. Like, I'm far more interested in Lobo than Supergirl. Frankly, a Lobo movie, just straight up Lobo, I would be more excited than that. I mean, Lobo's like literally all the things I like, like super alpha energy, just total dude bro coded character. But maybe that's a fine character to add into this film to give it elements needed for balance. One of the, I don't know, people have different takes on Wonder Woman 1984, the first Wonder Woman. Look, I strongly feel that a lot of what made Wonder Woman great was Zack being a part of like creating the story, and Steve Trevor's role as that strong man was really key, I think, to bringing males along for the ride, but also to balance Diana. And I thought adding the romantic elements in there, although some people didn't like it, was a sort of softening, humanizing thing for the character of Diana as well. This whole female superhero thing is somewhat of a tough nut to crack, I think. The first Wonder Woman is like one of my favorite movies ever. Like, to me, the first Wonder Woman was so great. I like went out and got a lot of the women in my life, like my mom and my sister, and I sort of like dragged them to the theaters to see it. It was like a great way for our sort of overlap of shared interest to create like a fun thing. If this movie can tap into that Wonder Woman energy, it's off to the races. I think Wonder Woman made like 7, 8, maybe even close to $900 million. So yeah, that is that's a good movie to model after for sure. Sorry, I had to kill a heater. It's a little too hot in here. Oh, Supergirl's got me heating up, But yeah, we'll see. Momoa is such a genuinely dope guy. Yeah, Momoa is great. And again, like, I'm not a dude. I want this movie to work. It would be great if, for the entire genre, if this movie just fucking slapped, dude. If this movie just slapped and everybody got on board, it would be great. And I'm down. Like, I'm willing to go on that ride and have that kind of a fun. This is a good first look. What do you guys think of the score? Yo, Game of Thrones composer is the one in charge of the score of this film. Really? That's quite interesting. So you're talking about... Wait, who are you talking about? Slapping cheeks? That would be great. Wonder Woman made over $821 million worldwide. Yeah, and that was like a while back, huh? So that's a great slice, man. Wonder Woman is more her own character, honestly. 100%, you're absolutely right. And that is an issue. This is a derivative of Superman. And there's been plenty of derivative characters that have worked. I think, Miles Morales, frankly, is a great one. Whether you want to say derivative or passing the baton or whatever, right? Sometimes this works, sometimes this doesn't. But it would be silly to sit here and say, like, oh, dude, nobody has a problem with this kind of stuff. No, actually, people are pretty hypersensitive to characters getting replaced, to legacies being tarnished. People are pretty sensitive to derivative girl boss characters. So I truly feel like the movie has to be marketed the right way to appeal to the masses. She's not tied down to the Superman mythos like Kara is. Yes, you're talking about Wonder Woman. Absolutely. This movie's going to be awesome. Hope it makes decent money. Yeah, I mean, there's a scenario in which this movie is really good and doesn't make great money. Like, we could be looking at a Thunderbolts situation here, which, by the way, to be fair, I think the Thunderbolts movie kind of fucked up too, because like, it's a fine film. We're going to talk about Fantastic Four a little bit later too. Just getting like basically no views on Disney Plus. Wild. Not no views, but pretty low. Look, Thunderbolts, to me, I think it's pretty easy to kind of look back in hindsight and just be like, dude, nobody knows who the fuck these characters are. And Yelena is just not strong enough to lead. Like, she's just not strong enough to lead a big movie like that and get it to like Wonder Woman-esque numbers. And maybe that's just the truth. And like, some of these characters just have to go through the gauntlet. And Diana has gone through the gauntlet a little bit more than some of these other, more recent editions of like the past 20 years of comics. I think the score is good. I mean, the score is really 80s coded, dude. Like that synth, that build up, it's really, really fun. We'll see. More of that could be great. I could imagine that score as there's like a ton of action going on. And, there's a concern for me, and I think other people kind of have a concern too, that it might be a little too Guardians, like just in concept, but also the action itself. Guardians action is great, but like, dude, I want... Like, say what you will about Zack's stuff. The way he did Kryptonian action was, like, fucking different. Like, dude, it was different. And it was, like, really badass. So I don't know, all the slow mo, because Zach of course uses slow mo too, but the way Gunn used slow mo in Superman was like just a little too much for me. So yeah, we'll see. The action, I think, makes or breaks this movie. What do you guys think? Is that a fair thing to say? The action will make or break this movie. You think that's fair? Josh, do you think they should have done Flash movie as their second movie? I feel like it would do better, and James could be interested in making it. I mean, look, the obvious thing is the Batman, but that's a difficult situation because of everything that was going on with Matt and, Batman Part 2. But, like, the obvious move is Batman. And there were rumors from pretty reliable people, like Jeff Snyder kind of hinted that James may have been working on a Man of, not a Man of Tomorrow, but a World's Finest movie. And after Superman came out, or maybe something around that time where Matt's like, nah, man, I'm really not feeling like sharing, sorry, then that movie becomes Man of Tomorrow. We don't know for sure, but strong possibility. I mean, Lex and Bruce are so similar as characters, really, that I could see a scenario where Gunn was like, okay, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. They're kind of interchangeable in some ways, but I don't know. I think obviously the Batman would have been the move. Flash, I don't think so, just because of how badly that Flash movie did and some of the stink that's still on that. Yeah, I think Supergirl's a better move than Flash, honestly. What do you think about Guardians making their return in Doomsday? I mean, it's possible. I think Peter will be involved. I think Peter Quill will be involved. But we'll see. Gunn should do absolute Batman. That would be absolutely incredible, but that's probably years away if it ever happens. You know what we could really hope for, though, is an absolute animated movie or like a DC KO animated movie. Like get a really good manga studio or anime studio on that and do something like that. That would pop the fuck off because they're killing it in the comics right now. And if they got a chance to like get some animated adaptations of that, oh man, would that go hard. I think it would be great. Classic Crypto has human level intelligence. Yeah. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's this Crypto, though. I don't know if that's going to be this Crypto. So before we move on to the next topics here, man, let me just ask you guys this. Like, what are you expecting for the trailer tomorrow? Do you expect it to get not just from yourself, like, are you expecting to like it, but do you think it's going to be popular? Like, do you think this shit is going to be popular? Because I don't know, man. Like, I have a lot of concerns, and it, like, I don't know. I'm just concerned. C-Swerve says someone needs to crack the code on live action mixed with animated fights going back and forth. It would be so dope. Yeah, both have things that the other cannot do, and I think both mediums are great, and there's really fascinating ways to maybe try to do some of the stuff that the other does, but I think by and large they're different mediums and they have the ability to do different things. So I don't know about combining them really. I expect some cameos in the trailer just for hype. Yeah, that would be useful for sure. If the Doomsday trailer drops tomorrow, it won't be popular. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. I don't think it is. In fact, I think Star Wars just ran away from Supergirl. I'm going to be honest. And I think Star Wars probably should run away from Supergirl because if there's one studio that is on shakier ground than DC Studios, it is most certainly Lucasfilm. So, yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment here. But, yeah. Josh, did you see the new Avatar Last Airbender trailer just dropped? It looks really good. Oh, I didn't see that. I will check that out, though. That sounds cool. AI will crack that code too. Maybe. Doomsday trailer will break all records. I agree, and I think so. I said the poster in my comments. I don't know how that was confusing. Wait, what? Oh, you must be talking to somebody else. Star Wars should run away from Hollywood. Yeah. They should make Kara addicted to online gambling to make her relatable to Gen Z. Yeah, maybe. And then that's good product placement too. So I'm not against that. What's the difference between the movie and Captain Marvel? Supergirl bar should be Captain Marvel box office. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, the big difference is, like, the way they sold the first Captain Marvel movie was by placing it between, like, two of the biggest movies, like, fucking ever. Right? So I saw this really good take. We've actually watched this take before on stream. Todd McFarlane had an incredible take about this where he was sitting down with a guy from comicbook.com, and he was like, look, man, you're seeing a pattern of what happened in the comics industry happening in the superhero movie genre, where sure, I could sell a new number one, especially if I tie it to a big event. He's talking about Captain Marvel. But if you take that away from the big event and it's no longer a number one, can you sell it? Can you sell the number two? And I think you look at the Marvels and the answer is no. I mean, the Marvels is literally the biggest box office bomb in the history of Hollywood until someone else comes out and can show me data that a different movie lost more money for a Hollywood studio than the Marvels did. The Marvels holds the crown as literally the biggest bomb in the history of box office. I know that's hard to believe, but reliable people have talked about that. So that shit was us, and it really, really underperformed. So how do you go from a movie that almost hits $1 billion, that frankly didn't deserve it, to a movie that is the biggest bomb in the history of the box office? Well, the way is because you used shenanigans, you used gimmicks, you did the same thing that the comics industry did. So this actually started around the death of Superman. Right around the time of the death of Superman in comics, things became pretty gimmicky. That book itself was crazy and broke a lot of records, and people were really, really excited about it. And then you basically saw DC and Marvel start to eventize and use shenanigans and do a whole bunch of new number ones and do never-ending events, and DC does reboots, Marvel does reboots, but they don't call them reboots. Like, it's become very gimmicky. And gimmicky stuff can get you a pop. The problem is it sort of works because you get a temporary boost in short-term sales. But I think you look at the long tail of that industry and you can kind of see like, yeah, that shit didn't build this huge growing base that really fucks with comics. No, it's actually about 300,000 people in North America that buy all the comics, and they frankly buy way too many of them. And that's because Marvel knows they're the only ones, and DC knows they're the only ones buying them, and so they just market to those people over the top. Okay? So with all of that said, that's the big difference. Okay? Between them. I would not say, though, that the bar for Supergirl is Wonder Woman. I would say the bar for Supergirl is $500 million. If this movie can get to $500 million, then just like Superman, good enough will be the story. And good enough is way better than not good enough. So we'll see. That's kind of my takes on that. Soul Jacker says, do you think Brand New Day coming out a month after Supergirl threatened Supergirl's performance at the box office? Yeah, sure. But frankly, things fall off so fast that the lion's share of the Supergirl box office would have already been made. So I think it'll hurt it, but we thought Fantastic Four would really hurt Superman. Superman legged out even past Fantastic Four in a pretty impressive way. Not to say that I think Supergirl will do the same, but just to say that it is possible. Yeah, it would certainly hurt. I don't think it's going to hurt all that much. My only problem with the poster is the whatever. It feels a little bit hokey. We get it. She's edgy. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Truth, justice, whatever. Yeah, fair. But that's pretty nitpicky, brother. You know what I mean? Even for me, that's pretty nitpicky. 500 million plus is a guarantee. I don't think so, man. I mean, look, we'll know more as we get a little closer. Expectations will change. Where I'm standing right now, if this thing gets to $500 million, good. You know, good enough. Actually looking forward to this movie because Gunn didn't direct. Yeah, and I think that's another thing is like, can this movie step out of the shadow of Gunn? Can it not feel like a James Gunn project? Maybe it can, and maybe it's really fucking good. I mean, from what we hear, Gunn really liked this screenwriter so much that she's been on other things, maybe 2 other things. Like she was on something and she got pulled off because I think she was doing Authority, and Gunn said they pulled her off probably to do Man of Tomorrow or something else. So that's awesome, you know, and hey, I'm all about that shit. Recognize that talent, elevate him, you know, get him more work. Maybe this movie's incredible. Guys, this movie has the ability to be incredible, right? It could be fan-freaking-tastic, and let's all hope that it is, I guess. I mean, unless you're like dead-ass rooting against a gun, which I'm not. I know it seems like I am, but I'm not. I mean, I'm definitely going to be snarky about the DCU for the rest of my fucking life and take as many cheap shots as I possibly can. But at the same time, I'm not going to like begrudge good movies, good superhero entertainment. I liked Superman. So I'm down to like Supergirl and like the entire DCU. But to be fair, brother, there's a lot of red flags here. There's a lot of red flags, a lot of icebergs in the water. This thing could go bad in any number of different ways. So, yeah. Superman tricked me, honestly. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Yeah, but Lobo's going to get beaten up and humiliated by her girl power, and I mean, we'll see, dude. It's way too early to call that. I'm not saying that you're not right to be like, hey, I'm concerned that this could happen because, I've lived through the last 5 years as well. But, I don't know. I feel so weird saying it, but let's try to be a little fair. Let's try to be a little fair.